Welcome to the Sisterhood of Healing podcast, the podcast that wants to help you reach your best and most divine potential. Each week, we dive into topics concerning inner healing, wellness, and spirituality. We discuss strategies and practice from our own personal experiences regarding higher energies, trauma, and connecting to the divine as we take you through our own personal journeys to discover the highest versions of ourselves. In combination with guest speakers, we bring you a comprehensive guide to mental and spiritual wellness and the ability to connect to yourself and the world around you on a deeper level. I'm Nicole, and I'm Christina, and we are two sisters who want to take you along on our spiritual and healing journey. We are each on our own individual healing and spiritual path and bring unique perspectives regarding yoga, chakra healing, meditation, intuition, and trauma healing. Sometimes life is messy, sometimes it's confusing, and sometimes everything falls perfectly into place. Join us as we navigate the path to divine enlightenment together. Welcome, sisters, brothers, and non-binary listeners to episode 8 of the Sisterhood of Healing podcast. In today's episode, we're going to be discussing new habit creation and practices.
We're kind of flying solo today. I mean, well, there's still two of us, so are we really flying solo?
No, I don't think so, but we don't have a guest on this week. So I guess we can say that we're solo for this episode.
Yeah. So we thought we would talk about creating new habits because both of us have kind of had dialogue back and forth over the last couple days, the last week, about how we've been feeling, how we've been sluggish, and new things that we're bringing into our lives and our personal practices in order to kind of redirect ourselves from kind of the funk that we find ourselves in. So creating new habits, creating new practices for ourselves is a way that we do that.
Yeah, so we should probably talk about what a habit actually is, so we're all on the same page.
Yep.
So a habit is something that's specific to behaviors or patterns that we've adapted over time. So we can look at it as a repetitive action that we take every day while we're on autopilot. So things that we don't even realize that we're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, very interesting way to look at it. So habits are usually cues or triggers that cause us to repeat certain actions. And then with that action, you end up experiencing a reward or a benefit. So that is what causes you to want to repeat the action because it feels good.
But sometimes that's only temporary, right?
Oh, yeah, for sure. It's like going into, your cabinet and grabbing a bag of chips every time you see like a commercial for chips, right? Like there's a trigger and you have a reward by eating those chips, but like that's something that's just going to be a temporary reward for you. That's not serving you in the long run.
So that would be a negative habit, but there are also kind of positive habits that can like trigger you, like make you feel good things as well, or things that are actually good for you as opposed to temporarily good things.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So I found some interesting things when I was doing some research on habit making and how our brains function with habit making. And our brains love habit because they love to repeat the past and do it feels easy.
And maybe that's why so many of us are stuck in habits that we know don't serve us, but we continue to stay in them because it's just easier than making those changes.
Exactly.
And taking that step.
Yeah, our brain finds it easier. So, yeah, our brains don't like to be introduced to new patterns because they don't know how to respond to things that they haven't done before. Yeah, our brains are so complex.
I know, I love our brains.
Yeah, that's why it makes habit breaking so difficult. So we just have to learn how to train our brains to do certain things. And that's why most of the time our habits go unnoticed.
Yeah, especially if you've been doing the same thing for years and years and years, and you've never had the opportunity to be forced to challenge your brain, or to make new habits, or like out of necessity, you've not found any necessity to change or to break those habits, or you're scared to break those habits, or for whatever reason, it definitely is easy to get stuck in those patterns.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, our habits become a part of who we are.
Yeah, and I think
whether we like to admit that or not.
Well, and I think too, a lot of times we use the phrase creature of habit, and there's certain things that I'm a creature of habit about, like the way I cut my grilled cheese, or I just like my grilled cheese cut a certain way. But yeah, I think that's probably where it comes from. Like, we're creatures of habit, and it all links back to, like, I'm going to do what feels safe and feels right. It's like an evolutionary thing, right? You're not going to, if you've survived this long and this has kept you safe, why would you change anything? But I think that's a change that's something that we have to recognize now. I mean, we're not cavemen anymore. It's 2022. And so we have to understand that a lot of these practices that it quote unquote kept us alive for so long and keep us like in survival mode and keep us safe, like they don't keep us thriving and they don't keep us healthy. Like there's a difference with having safe habits and healthy habits that are going to help us to thrive. And I think that's the difference. And I think a lot of us kind of sit in that safe survival mode. Like, why would I change this? It's been working for me. Well, like, we don't have to live in survival mode all the time. We can create new habits that serve us better and help to propel us forward and like take us out of kind of that stagnation.
Yeah, exactly. So like, how do we determine what habits and practices aren't serving us?
I think, I've had a lot of conversations with like friends and family members and whatever. And I mean, when I actually consciously think of those conversations, so many times, and it's so commonplace for us to say, oh, I know this isn't good for me, but I do it anyways.
Yeah, we do that so often.
Right?
We're our own worst enemies.
Yeah, like, oh, I know it's not good for me, but you're just like, whatever, I'm used to doing it. It'll be fine. I do this all the time. Well, like, if it's not working for you, and I'm the worst for myself for saying I'm going to bed at, like, I want to be in bed and reading by like 9:30, 10 o'clock. And then somehow midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning rolls around and I'm awake.
And you're still binge watching
Netflix? Yes. Or I've like done work until 10 or 11 o'clock, and which I'm really trying to do work at home and not bring work at home so I can kind of separate like work and home life. But and I just need some downtime. So I spend an hour meditating or scrolling aimlessly through social media or like whatever it is. And they're not healthy habits. And I find that sometimes I'll be really, really good. And then there'll be like a week or two where I just get stuck in these really unhealthy habits again. And you really got to recognize it and kind of kickstart yourself back into healthy habits, like creating good practices for yourself, reminding yourself how those good practices make you feel.
Yeah, I know, like me personally, my bedtime routine hasn't been the greatest for me lately, and that has a lot to do with having been in lockdown for a month again and having been on like vacation previous to that, and my bedtime routine being off because of that. But I find myself, I'm not going to bed early at a time that I would usually go to bed at or want to go to bed at. And I'm just like sitting up watching TV or scrolling aimlessly on my phone until like 11:30 or midnight.
And I have a goal for myself to wake up at 7 o'clock and give myself an hour and a half before I open up my laptop and start work so that I can work out or meditate at that time or read a chapter of my book. And I'm not waking up early enough because I'm so exhausted from my bad habits the night before.
Yep.
So I need to create some new habits for myself that are going to serve me better than what I'm doing right now.
Yes.
Because while I am doing those habits, I am taking the time to read a chapter in my book every day. I am exercising, I am meditating, but it's not, or those things aren't being done at a time that serve me the most.
Yeah. I find, so personally, and you know this, we grew up together, I am not a morning person. Like, I love waking up slowly, being in my bed, like feeling the warmth of my sheets, just experiencing it. Like, I am not a morning person. Night owl, yes. Morning person, no. And I realized that that was the one thing that was kind of holding me back from completely starting my day off on the right foot. And I could have as positive a mindset as I could, but I would like lay in bed till I absolutely needed to. I'd say like, okay, I know it'll take me half an hour to get ready and 10 minutes to get to school. So as long as I give myself like 50 minutes, we're good. And it's fine, but I'm literally just getting up, getting ready, getting my stuff together and leaving. And you're in, even though you have a positive mindset, you really are unconsciously rushed. So, so knowing that I'm not a morning person, I was like, I need to fix my routine. And COVID, being in lockdown again, actually helped with this because our start time was later. So I was able to get up in the morning at a time that wasn't still night, still dark. Get up in the morning and get myself into an exercise routine, breakfast routine, washing up and preparing myself for the day. That was really nice. And I actually, when I had the time to do it, right, to do it properly, the one day I'm like, let me see how long this takes me to do properly. And I figured I needed about an hour and a half to get up, exercise, meditate, eat breakfast, get ready, and get out the door to practice a routine that really served me and really set me off on a positive start. And I'm like, okay, I know I need an hour and a half. It makes me feel good. I'm going to do it. So I started setting my alarm for 5:50. And as early as that is, yeah, it's just, and now that I've gotten into this good habit of like, I get up, the first thing I do is I wash my face, put on whatever I'm going to wear to work out, and I go work out. And I've been doing this for 2 months now. And I really look forward to it. Like, I go to bed at night. Like, I used to go to bed at night and set my alarm for 6:30. And I'm like, oh, I'm gonna get up at 6:30. It's so early. I don't want to get up. But now, completely, one, changing your mindset, and two, changing my routine to something I know that makes me feel good. It's completely changed everything in my mind, where I set my alarm at night. I'm like, okay, 5:50. Like, ooh, I get to work out in the morning, and like, it's gonna make me feel good. And then I get to take a moment to meditate. And it's just, it honestly has made such a world of difference. And it's something that Dad's been telling us for years. But
get up earlier, set your alarm early.
Have a nice
Don't
breakfast.
Rush in the morning.
Yeah,
have
relax.
A nice breakfast.
Yeah, and I knew, obviously I knew he was right, but I just hate mornings. But I just had to change my practices in the morning. And for me, it was obviously like a slow go because I did it while we were in lockdown. I figured, well, what better time to, like, I don't have to get up at the crack of dawn. Let me try and incorporate these practices in now. So that's what I did.
So we both mentioned like a laundry list of habits and practices that we want to do or that we do in our mornings. And it's so important to note that what's going to make you successful in your habit forming is taking like one small habit that you want to work at and like continuing to work at that, not biting off a chunk that you really can't chew because you're overwhelmed with how much you've decided to take on.
Yeah. And I definitely felt that in the beginning. I had this moment where I was like, whoa, I'm changing too much too fast. I decided to change my meditation practice from the evening into the morning, just because when we were in lockdown, I was meditating in the mornings. And I thought that it, like mentally, emotionally, I'm in a different place than I was a year ago. And a year ago, I was meditating at night because the days were chaos, like emotionally, mentally, the days were chaos. So I needed something to kind of bring me down and ground me at night. Whereas now I'm looking for something to set up my day, set those intentions, and kind of pave my way for the direction that I want to head that day. So in changing my intentions, I guess, my intent of meditation, it helped me to change like the time that I meditate, if that makes sense. So I changed meditation to the morning, and then I added an exercise routine, and then I was like, okay, I gotta make breakfast too. I'm like, this is really overwhelming. I can't do my 1 hour meditation in the morning. Let me just sit for 5 minutes. I can't do a full journal in the morning. Let me just jot down if there's anything that's like really pressing or like I can't shake. Let me just jot it down. So it's more of a quick meditation, but again, like I had to kind of shift that practice to make it work for where I am in the present.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. And like you have to try things on before you figure out what's working for you, right?
Yeah.
Not necessarily the practice that you're doing, but when you're doing that practice.
Yeah. Yep.
Because that's gonna set you up for success.
Yeah, and it should be appropriate too, right? I mean, if you are, I know with like the gym, and we talked about like in one of our first episodes, we talked about New Year's resolutions, and everyone signs up for the gym in January, and then by February nobody goes anymore. Like if you don't like the gym, don't go to the gym. Like honestly, I find working out boring. Like I love team sports, and I mean we're doing I actually love Beachbody. I think it's so fun. But like going to the gym, I would always go because I knew it was good for me. But I wouldn't look forward to like the Monday, Wednesday I went to the gym. I would look forward to the Thursday that I went to soccer. Like that's what I would look forward to. So
yeah, I agree with that. I feel the same way with my yoga practice. Like I could go to yoga every day, like go to the studio every day if I'm teaching or taking someone's class. But the minute I have to do it at home on my own, I'm like, it's like not as enjoyable.
Yeah. Probably because like you're accountable to other people too, right?
Yeah, exactly. And I feel like that's why like Beachbody's going so well lately, is because I have people that I'm accountable to.
And I know
Really
like you can see what I'm doing.
I can see everything that you're doing. No, I actually can't. If you don't log in, I can't see it.
Oh, really? Okay. Well, don't tell me that. No, I'm just kidding. No, but I as much as I've always gone to the gym, but it's never excited me like team sports has, or like yoga has, or like getting outside, or my favorite, rollerblading. Like I just love it. Like nothing excites me like those things. So it really is about finding the practices that are going to help you. And I think like for getting active, if you're looking for something to get active, like walking is the easiest thing, or just like being outside.
Yeah, and like I know we've had this conversation before about getting outside and either like hiking or going for a walk, and how like that affected us during COVID, like what positive impact it made on the routine that we created, because we had limited options of what we could do.
Yeah.
And creating a healthy habit, like getting outside in nature and disconnecting from the chaos that was, on the TV and in our phones. It was a habit that I know served me very well. It got me active, it cleared my mind, got me out in nature. I loved it. And I'm continuing with that habit.
Yeah. Yeah, and
it's not something that I've stopped.
No. Yeah, you're pretty good at that. Even like you were saying, you're walking your dog out in the rain tonight.
I sure was.
Yeah, I was saying to you before, I mean, we've always done things outside. Like we grew up in wine country. Like there's always trails and along like the Bruce Trail and the escarpment. Like there's always places outside to go. And I don't know if like it's like this to be outside now and to be in nature and to be hiking. It's like this inherent need in me. Like I look so forward to it. And I don't know, like you said, I don't know if it came out of the mental emotional place that I was in during COVID. It was the only option. It was the only thing to do. I needed to get out of the situation that I was in. Like there's a lot of reasons at the time, but now all I want to do is hike and skate. That's all I want to do. And I don't know if, I guess they were things that I always enjoyed doing, but now it's just like, those are the things that, the practices that fuel my soul.
Yeah. So we've spoken a lot about outdoor wellness habits. Mm-hmm. What are some of your favorite indoor wellness habits?
Ooh, well, yoga. I guess because yoga can be done inside, or my yoga teacher also goes outside in the summertime, which is kind of fun to be in a park. But keeping it inside. I like taking a hot shower before bed.
Yes.
I'm a
simple, so lovely.
Yeah, I'm a night showerer. Like throughout the week, I'll shower in the evening. So I think for me, it's twofold. Like symbolically, physically, like you're washing off the day. Like you're completely washing off the day, you're resetting, like all that energy, everything that you carried home with you, like you're just washing down the drain. And I always did this. And I actually was listening to a podcast. I don't know if it was a Yoga Magic podcast. I can't remember. A couple months back. And the guest actually said, when you get in the shower, physically picture the water washing off your problems. I'm like, yes, that's what I do.
Yeah. I do that literally like all the time. And whenever I've had a bad day, I say to myself, I'm going to go wash away my day.
Oh.
And I sit there and I just let the water run over me. Mm-hmm. And it's so cleansing. Mm-hmm. And I feel like I'm reset.
I like that
ready to move on with my evening.
I like that you actually say, I'm going to go wash off my day. Like to actually stating that. Sometimes when you say that out loud, like when you say things out loud, it kind of brings it to life, makes it more tangible in a way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're, I don't want to say you're manifesting it, but yeah, like you're envisioning it, like you're allowing it to happen as you say it. Yeah.
You're calling it out. You're calling the shot.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
You took the words out of my mouth.
Yeah. Oh, I like that. Honestly, warm showers are the best, and then you just get into bed and you're all cozy and squidgy and warm, and it's
yeah. It seems like such a simple thing to do, a simple habit to do that you wouldn't think of that would make you feel so good. And what I like to do is have a clean space, have a clean house. Like those habits help clear my head. Mm-hmm. And I'm not stressed over my environment.
Yeah. I've actually read things about that too. I know like both of us growing up, we always had very clean bedrooms. Like my mom brags about it. She's like, I never had to tell my kids to clean their room. I'm like, I don't know how this happened, but like always made our beds. And always like, I know me, I always had to have my space kind of like you always had to have. Before I sat down to do any schoolwork, I had to have a clear space. Everything had to be tidy. And I've actually heard things about how your environment reflects, or your mentality reflects your environment. Yeah. So if you've got a cluttered environment, it's going to reflect in your thoughts and kind of cloud your thoughts and vice versa. So
that's why I like to have a clean kitchen every morning before I start work.
yes.
Just like sitting in the living room and dining room with my laptop open, and I glance over at the kitchen, and the kitchen's a mess. Everything is a mess.
Yeah, I feel
my
like
day is off.
Yeah.
As soon as my kitchen is clean and the countertops are clear, then I can smell the cleanliness. All is well in the world.
It's so true. It's so true. I'm like that with my dishes at night. I always clean as I go when I cook. Some of you are like pots and pans, and like the odd glass from whatever after dinner. I usually will clean up. I hate to wake up to that, but you know what? Sometimes you can just tell yourself like it's fine. Like this doesn't need to be cleaned up. It's fine. And sometimes I just let it go because in the grand scheme of things, it doesn't matter. And I would rather just sit on the couch and watch some TV because it's been a long day.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. We deserve to make those decisions.
Yeah. As long as they don't become unhealthy habits. But you can allow yourself to just kind of let go and let be sometimes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
What other indoor practices do you have?
I think one of my other favorite indoor practices is journaling. And I know we've mentioned journaling before on one of our past episodes. But yeah, I like taking that time for myself every day to sit and write out my thoughts, clear my mind, figure out what's going on in my mind. And if it's like a simple 5-minute task, then it's 5 minutes. Sometimes I can go for half an hour. Sometimes I can go for an hour. Depends on what's going on at that time. But yeah, that's another one of my favorite ones.
I would agree. And journaling was something that I never did. Like years ago, I always thought, like, who has time to just sit there and write frivolous things? Like, who has time for that? There's way too much to do. And like, why would you write nothing about nothing? But
see, we're opposites because I've always had a
Yeah,
journal.
you did.
Always.
Yeah, no, but that's honestly one of the things I think because I had not a negative view of it, but a very
silly view.
A very what's the word I'm looking for? Like I was indifferent. Like I had a very indifferent opinion about journaling. I'm like, okay, people journal, no big deal. I think because my view was so indifferent before, and then once I started doing it, I started to see the impacts of journaling and how it helped me to process my thoughts, my emotions, and set intentions and whatever. I think once I saw the benefits of that, and some days I journal and it's like 3 or 4 pages, and sometimes I journal and it's half page. Like it just depends on the day, it depends on if it's the morning or at night. But that has been one of the practices that has been completely eye-opening. And I tell everybody about it. I'm like, yeah, journal. You have journal. It's amazing. It's amazing. Because it really is transformative. And there's sitting with your thoughts in meditation, and then there's getting your thoughts out on the page and confronting your thoughts. And it's a completely different thing.
Yeah. See, I've incorporated both of those practices together. So when I meditate, I start off with journaling so I can get my thoughts out. And then I meditate, and then I journal again.
Ooh, so I meditate. So like I start with some breath work and then meditate or like try and intuit. Spend some time doing that. If I'm like intuiting things, like I'll write down I have 2 journals, one for like when I'm intuiting and whatnot, meditating. And then one where when I feel like I've kind of spent enough time in my own thoughts and in connection with whatever it is I'm connecting to, then I turn over to like my journal and I will write. So it's breath work, meditation, journaling for me.
Yeah.
And then close off with breath work.
Yeah, exactly. And like we can totally discuss meditation at a later time because there's so much we could talk about.
Yeah.
So that'll be in the next coming weeks that we'll do an episode on meditation.
I feel like that with everything we talk about every episode. I'm like, there's so much I want to say. Just save it.
Meditation is amazing.
Oh,
everyone needs to meditate.
It really is. That's also been one of my favorite practices.
Yeah.
Is apparently I have a lot of favorite practices. I love my practices, apparently. But
I think that's a good thing. When you love your practices, you love your life, and you're an overall happier person when you love what you're doing.
Mm-hmm. And you look forward to doing them.
Yeah.
Like exactly. if I hated hiking, like I wouldn't bundle up when it's -10 outside and head out into the forest because it's cold. Like it's really cold. Yeah. But like I love doing it, and of course you dress warm. But yeah, no, it's fantastic.
Yep.
One habit that we didn't talk about was diet.
Yeah, so I love to eat healthy. Of course, I'm not going to eat healthy every day. We all slip up. I love to get peanut butter cups every time I go to the grocery store. But I find that eating healthy helps me set myself up for success in other areas of my life. So if I'm eating healthy, I'm going to want to work out more because I'm treating my body well, and I want to continue to do that.
Yep. Yeah, I would agree with that. It makes such a difference. And I'm very much plant-based. Like when you found out you were celiac and you went vegetarian and then vegan and whatnot, it really got me thinking about the things that I was eating and putting in my body. And not for any reason, just because it makes me feel good. I'm probably more plant-based. And the days where like you go to a friend's house and you have pizza, or like I sit down and I actually had a bubble tea accidentally delivered to my house last night, 2 of them at when did I go do groceries at like 7:00, and at midnight they were still there, so I brought them in. Nobody claimed them. And so I sat and had a bubble tea after work today and ruined my appetite a little bit. And it was delicious and soul nourishing. But again, now I'm feeling not as good as I could feel because of it, right? So I feel like a little disappointed in myself, but also it's okay. It was really delicious.
Yeah. I started a new habit this week. I ordered organic matcha.
Ooh, I want to know all about this.
And so matcha is like a green tea powder, and you whisk it in water until it dissolves. So you just add like a little bit of water, hot water, to a bowl with like a teaspoon of this matcha. Yeah, whisk it until it dissolves. It's not like chunky anymore, and your water turns green. Then you can add more water to it, or you can make like a matcha latte.
Ooh.
But I've started with that in the morning, drinking matcha and my lemon water.
Yes, lemon water is really good for you.
Hydrate.
Yes.
I'm feeling good.
I really want to try the matcha. It just looks fun as well.
So much fun. Yep. And I actually mixed it this afternoon in my protein shake.
Oh, that's also a great way to work it in. I mean, not as fun because it's not green. It's brown or whatever color it is.
No, it was green.
Oh, what color is your protein powder?
Oh, it was vanilla protein, not chocolate.
Okay, I have chocolate.
Yeah. Gotta have vanilla protein on hand.
Oh, see, I only have chocolate.
Why, the combo packs are amazing.
I know. Maybe I should consider that next time. All right, so we exercise, we eat well, we do yoga, we meditate, we journal, we love to get outside. Any other indoor practices?
Indoor practices. Did we mention reading?
No, I was actually just thinking that. Same wavelength.
I love reading. Oh, yeah. I haven't been the greatest over the last year with taking time to read, but I've gotten back into it. And one of the new habits that I've set out to do is read a chapter a day.
I love that.
So no matter how long that chapter is, it could be 5 pages or 10 pages or 20, I'm supposed to read that chapter. And I love it because now I actually feel like I'm finishing books and they're not just sitting on my dresser for months.
Mm-hmm. When you told me you were doing that, I'm like it inspired me. I'm like, yes, that's a really good practice to get into because I mean, you know, I majored in English, and so it completely ruined my desire to read for fun.
Yeah.
So now,
yeah, university did that to me.
Yeah, it's just,
because it was like out of obligation.
Yeah,
desire.
And like, I love reading books. I've read a lot of books in the last couple of years, but I find that it takes me longer to get through them because I'm reading them before bed, and they help me to fall asleep. And so I like the one chapter a day, which, I mean, I know in my own practice, if I'm like, normally I will turn on the TV while I'm cooking dinner. Sometimes I have music on, but if I'm feeling just like having a TV show on, I'll put on while I'm cooking dinner, while I'm eating, and then like I'll watch an episode after dinner. But maybe I can replace that episode after dinner with reading a chapter.
Yeah, it's a great idea.
Yeah.
Retrain your brain.
Yeah. Oh, it's so important. And it's crazy how, as well, like, so we'd mentioned, like, we're creatures of habit. Like, we do things over and over and over again, and it's a survival strategy, and it's hard to change. And I think what makes it most hard to change is it depends on what you're trying to do. If it's kind of a big change, like quitting your job, moving to a different city, whatever it is, there's a lot of factors connected to that. I think the greatest foundational factor is fear. Like, there's a lot of fear. Like, those are some big life changes that you're making. But I think if there's smaller things, like, do things that bring you joy. Like, do things that make you happy and look forward to doing them. And it all comes back to this idea of doing things that make you feel good. What is going to make you feel good? I mean, for me, a year ago, had you said just get up at 5:50 in the morning and start getting ready, I would have been like, no. Like, I can get ready in half an hour. Why would I get ready an hour and a half before I have to? But but now, because I have these things to look forward to that make me feel really good, it's completely changed the game for me, and I love it.
Yeah. So inspiring.
Yay!
Well, with that being said, I think we would love to hear from listeners. Let us know if you have any habits that you would love to share. You can send us a message on our Instagram, or send us an email.
Mm-hmm.
We would love to hear from you. We'd love to hear what you're doing with your routines, with your practices, with your habits.
Yeah, and I mean, we're always looking to improve our routines as well. We have what works for us now, but you know, sometimes when you find yourself in a funk, there might be things that aren't working, or sometimes it's just good to change things up to kind of, like we talked about before, to change your brain. They change the way that your brain works and looks at things and is processing things for you. So yeah,
get into a new habit. Do something that's going to serve you.
All right, sisters, thanks for tuning in this week. Remember, you can reach us on our socials. Our Instagram is sisterhood_of_healing, or you can always email us at sisterhoodhealing@gmail.com. We love hearing from you. And also, if you have any show ideas, we have a lot lined up, a lot of really exciting things, a lot of guests coming to join us. But if you do have anything that you're interested in learning more about, or you'd like to hear our perspective and hear a conversation about it, please send us a message and let us know.
Thanks, sisters.
Thanks, sisters. We'll see you next week.
That's it for our show today. Thanks for joining. Remember, you can always reach out to us on our socials, on Instagram at sisterhood_of_healing, or on TikTok at Sisterhood of Healing. We love to hear from you, so please reach out to us at any time. Thank you for journeying with us today. We'll see you next time.